Hello dear students, today I shall be discussing about the powers and functions of the Union Legislature, and this is going to be part 3 of the chapter Legislature. Now whenever we talk about legislature, we are talking about the Union Legislature. Okay, at least for this chapter, legislature means the Union Legislature, that is the Union Parliament, and the two houses, namely Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So let's have a look at the powers and functions of the Union Parliament. Function number 1, that is the legislative powers. Now, number 1 that we have is matters in the Union list. In this, the Union Parliament has the sole authority or has the exclusive powers to make laws on the subjects which are mentioned in the Union list. As for example, your defense, railways, foreign affairs, banking, all these are the subjects on which laws can only be made by the Union Parliament. Next, coming to concurrent list. In concurrent list, there are different subjects on which laws can be made by both state legislature and the union legislature. But in case of conflict between these two legislature, the decision of the union legislature or the laws made by the union legislature shall prevail. Function number 3 under legislative power. Now, we have the state list. There are different subjects mentioned in the state list on which basically the laws are made by the state legislature. But it sometimes happens that the state legislature maybe for some or the other reason may get dissolved. At this particular time, what happens is it is the Union Parliament who controls the working of the state legislature and makes laws on the different subjects mentioned in the state list. The Union legislature can also make laws on different subjects mentioned in the state list if the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution and tells that a particular subject mentioned in the state list has assumed a national importance. Now, next function under the legislative power is the power given to the President to promulgate an ordinance when the Parliament is not in session. The ordinance has the same effect as that of a law. The ordinance ceases to operate once the Parliament reassembles after a period of 6 weeks. The ordinances to come into force needs the approval of both houses of the Parliament. Next, we have the residuary powers under the legislative power. And what do you mean by residuary powers? Residuary powers basically lies with the Parliament. Now, residuary powers are those powers over which the Parliament can make laws. Now, residuary powers includes those subjects which are not mentioned in the state list. They are neither mentioned in the union list nor are they mentioned in the concurrent list. That means either of the three lists do not include these residuary powers. Now, next, coming to control over executive, that is function number 2. That means how does the Parliament control the executive and make sure that the executive does not function in an arbitrary way or does not do things as it likes. Number 1, by question hour or by asking question. The best way to control the executive is by asking them different questions related to their working. In this, the Parliament, the members of the Parliament, they basically ask different questions to the government related to public importance. So, by asking questions, what is the parliament doing is, the parliament is basically putting a check on the arbitrary working style of the executive. The second way by which the parliament exercises control over the executive is by passing a vote of no confidence. A vote of no confidence always originates in Lok Sabha and is moved by the opposition party against the ruling party. A vote of no confidence means lack of trust in the ruling party or the government. Now, when a vote of no confidence is passed against the ruling party or against the government, then the Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers will have to submit their resignation. Number 3, we have the adjournment motion, in which the normal business of the House is kept aside to discuss something that has assumed public importance. Next, we have censure motion, by which what happens is, the members of the parliament, they reject a government bill or pass a private bill against the wishes of the government. By passing a censure motion, the opposition party is basically trying to put a vote of no confidence against the ruling party. Now, control over the national purse, that is the financial powers. Financial powers basically deals with your money related things, finance. Okay, now financial power number 1, if you look at, the parliament has the power to pass the union budget. Now, what is this union budget? The union budget contains the estimate of income and expenditure of the union government in a financial year. Control over the national purse, power number 2. It is the parliament who decides the salaries and allowances of the members of parliament and other ministers. Now, students, out here it's very important for us to discuss function number 3 under the control over national purse. It is the Lok Sabha which basically introduces a money bill. A money bill passed in Lok Sabha goes to Rajya Sabha. Now, Rajya Sabha cannot deny a money bill. It can only suggest recommendations. Rajya Sabha can keep the money bill with itself for a period of 14 days. Okay. Now, after having kept the bill for a period of 14 days, Rajya Sabha is left with no other option either to recommend changes or to pass the bill. So, the bill goes to President and the President signs the money bill. No taxes in the union parliament can be introduced without the approval of the union parliament. That means, in order to impose any type of tax to the public, the government needs the approval of the union parliament. Now, coming to the electoral powers, it is the two houses of the Indian parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that elects the Vice President of India. The two houses of the Indian Parliament, along with the state legislature, they elect the President of India. Furthermore, the Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha is elected from the members of Lok Sabha, and the Chairman of Rajya Sabha is elected from the members of Rajya Sabha. The judicial powers. Now, judicial powers, if you all see, the powers to impeach the president rests with the parliament. That means, the impeachment resolution against a president may originate in either house of the parliament, and if passed by both the houses, the president will have to submit his resignation. Similarly, the power to impeach the judges of Supreme Court or the High Court rests with the Parliament of India. The Parliament of India can punish those persons who are trying to disturb the meeting of the house. Okay, like suppose if a meeting is taking place in Lok Sabha, then the speaker has the full authority to punish a person whosoever tries to disrespect the chair or tries to disturb the meeting of the house. Similarly, if a meeting is taking place in Rajya Sabha, then it is the chairman of the house who has the sole authority to basically adjourn the meeting of the house or to punish a particular person who is trying to disturb the meeting of the house or showing disrespect to the chair. Now, powers of amendment, that means who has the power to amend the Constitution of India? The power to amend the Constitution of India lies with both the houses of the Parliament. That means both the houses of the Parliament have the power to amend the Constitution of India. The procedure to amend the Constitution of India can originate in either house of the Parliament. Now, if this procedure, if the amendment process passes in both the houses, it goes to the President for its final approval, and if the President approves it, then we have a change in the Constitution. Okay, students, so with this we complete the chapter on the Union Legislature. Hope you all go through the link and you all like it. Okay, students, when you all go through this link, please also try to refer to the chapter Union Legislature. Thank you, students. Stay safe, stay at home.